to get your fix.
Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready? Are you ready to get your fix? Are you ready to get your fix?
With the Wicks here on this beautiful Wednesday, March 2nd, 2022, and welcome to the show, whether that be on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, same story as always, hit the like, hit the share. On YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It would be much appreciated. Now, we all know, obviously, okay, it's been the story of the week. We did this Monday. We did this Tuesday or yesterday. It's Combine Week, baby, and I'm pumped up. I'm excited. That means, hey, a lot of news. Sorta, okay, because today and yesterday was basically all the media going round and out doing their thing, trying to get news out of everybody. What are you looking for? What are you doing differently in this year's scouting combine? Like, for instance, we got coaches having players shooting basketballs, doing their whole, shenanigans on the side, asking them weird questions. We'll dive into that. We also got head coaches getting, hyped up from old bosses up there, a.k.a. Mike Daniels. Fucking give me a hell yeah to John Lynch, who was speaking pretty positively about him, or pretty positive about him. So we got all that, or that whole, stuff kind of going on right now with this year's combine. It's the same news, same stories. Okay, we'll dive into some of those stories, obviously, or the news that has been brought to my attention today via the old Twitter, okay, via the old insiders over there at NFL Network or the NFL, basically, who work for them, aka, Ian Rappaport, Fuel Yates, Tom Pelissero, Adam Schefter, all those guys. Okay, so we'll dive into some of the news of what is happening. There's some news on, well, not really some news. There's no news on Aaron Rodgers, but we're gonna dive into him a little bit briefly, kind of give you a little overview of what the fuck is going on. We also have, the Arizona Cardinals making some moves finally. I mean, that's pretty exciting. So we'll dive into all sorts of news today that's coming from the scouting combine. Yesterday we talked about how the MLB, well, might not be good, might be dead for a little bit anyways. The first two regular season series are canceled, as Rob Manfred stood in front of the crowd and said, I'm going to be postponing or canceling the first two regular season series of Major League Baseball, with a smile, a little giggle afterwards, kind of walked away. All right, fuck you, Manfred. Who gives a shit, right? He's just a piece of shit. Doesn't really care about the players, doesn't really care about the league, it seems as if. Who knows? I don't really know, but that's kind of what I'm getting out of the story. But I'll stay away from it. We're talking football because this is a football show. This is what we do. So are you ready to get your fix? Well, obviously, we all know about the Kyler Murray situation and him deleting the Arizona Cardinals off his Instagram account, off his Twitter account, off his, all the social media platforms that he currently holds for him, because we all know how hard it is to find a franchise quarterback in this league. And when you find one, you want to keep him there as long as possible. Well, Kyler Murray's agent, okay, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but his agent is the same agent of head coach Cliff Kingsbury. And today the Arizona Cardinals have decided to extend both GM Steve Keim, one of the two, and head coach Cliff Kingsbury through the 2027 season. So about a 5-year contract extension. Don't really know the details too much about it. Don't know the money worth. I mean, it's what the contract's worth. Just know 5-year extension through 2027. They're there for the long haul, which means, okay, since Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray share the same agent, I'd expect Kyler Murray to probably get extended soon as well. And if not, well, we might have some stories to cover here in the coming months, okay? Obviously, if he doesn't get extended, the Cardinals don't really give a shit about Kyler Murray, or that's what this narrative, the story is probably going to be built around by the people on the internet, by by Kyler Murray's staff, by his people. Maybe, I don't know. That might not be the case. Or they're just waiting. They're just waiting to see how much more can Kyler Murray improve. How much more can our team improve with Kyler as our quarterback? Can we go from going to the playoffs to going to the playoffs and winning a playoff game or winning multiple playoff games? They want to kind of, they might want to digest what they are getting themselves into before a contract extension really takes place. Doubt that's going to be the case because, obviously, like I just noted, finding a franchise quarterback is very, very tough in the NFL. When you find that piece, don't let it go, because we've seen multiple teams multiple times where they let these franchise quarterbacks just walk away. Imagine if Drew Brees would have stayed a San Diego Charger. Obviously, they found Phillip Rivers, lickety split. That didn't really matter. But there's obviously been those times where quarterbacks leave an organization, a.k.a. Tom Brady. The Patriots let his ass walk out of town. What happens? Well, the Patriots have a 7-9 season, their first losing season, I believe, under head coach Bill Belichick. And Tom Brady goes down to Tampa Bay to play for the Buccaneers and wins a goddamn Super Bowl in his first season. So letting a franchise quarterback walk, okay, historically hasn't proved to be a good decision. So I wouldn't, if I was the Arizona Cardinals, owner, general manager, head coach, I ain't letting Kyler out of the building. Even though yesterday I kind of said, look, I think it's going to be tough for him to win a Super Bowl because mobile quarterbacks, they are getting more relevant, obviously. But as of late, we've seen pocket passing quarterbacks who have the ability to go outside or roll outside the pocket and scramble, be mobile as much as they possibly can. Win a Super Bowl, win Super Bowls, go to a Super Bowl, win multiple playoff games, have success. Compared to a Lamar Jackson, who's had early exits in all of his playoff career, or all of his playoff games. Kyler Murray, early exit this year in his playoff game. Yeah, they're gonna put your team in the right place to win ball games, put your team in the position to go to the playoffs and potentially fight and play for a Super Bowl, but that just has not been the case. And I'm just going with the facts. Now, if you guys can find some other facts around there that proves me wrong, do so. I do not care. I'm all for it. I want you guys to tell me if I'm wrong or not, all right? Because obviously, that's what this game is about, all right? If we get something wrong, we got to correct it. But we're usually pretty right on most occasions. Most occasions. Not all the occasions, because I did pick the fucking Buffalo Bills to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this year's Super Bowl. Was not the case, all right? The Rams, the Bengals ended up going there. Would have never guessed. But that's how the cookie crumbles. But finding or having a mobile quarterback, I think, puts your team in the right position, obviously, to make a playoff run, make a Super Bowl run. But as of late, and as of recent memory, as of recent history, that just hasn't been the case. And obviously, 5-10 years down the road, when all quarterbacks are mobile quarterbacks, which is a definite possibility, then we're going to start to see a shift in more mobile quarterbacks. Winning more playoff games, getting to a Super Bowl, winning a Super Bowl. That's definitely going to happen at some point in time. It just hasn't been the case, or hasn't been that way in recent memory. The horses here. Okay, you get rid of him. If you remember, we had Josh fucking Rosen as our quarterback. We sucked. Okay, he ends up bouncing around from team to team to team to team to team to team. Well, basically two teams. Okay. And he hasn't really been or lived up to the hype. We had Kurt Warner. Went to the Super Bowl. We lost it. All right, at least we went there. It's very, very hard to find a franchise quarterback, keeping Kyler Murray has to be a must for the Arizona Cardinals. I think they're going to find a way to do so. And on other news for Arizona Cardinals, hey, we might be seeing a potential uniform update from them at some point. Probably not this season, probably next year, okay, unless they figure a way out to change the uniforms here in the next couple weeks or two, because I think their uniforms are a little high schoolish, I think. I think they could definitely be vamped up or, look a little bit cleaner than what they already look like. Okay, I'm all for those black unis with the red numbers, their color rush uniforms, all for it, but we could definitely be seeing a change with that going forward. So who knows, but definitely keep Kyler Murray in your organization. He is a franchise quarterback. Find a way to extend this guy because he might be your only chance at making more runs in the future, making more playoff appearances or having more playoff appearances in the future. Okay, and it's very hard to find a franchise quarterback. Now, obviously, we have the Giants. The Giants news yesterday kind of came out where, hey, we're going to be taking calls for trades of all kinds, including for Saquon Barkley. If somebody calls, hey, we're willing to pick that phone up and listen to what they got to tell us and what they're offering and how it's going to all work out, including every single one of our people or our players. Saquon Barkley, Daniel Jones, okay, Kadarius Toney, Sterling Shepard. Their whole roster is definitely up for a potential trade. That might not happen, but they are definitely entertaining some calls as of right now. But we're not going to be here talking about that whole situation, okay? We're going to be talking about the Giants' recent releasing of two players. One of them being running back Devontae Booker. We all know him, or at least I know him from this year. He didn't see the field too much. When he did see the field, he looked promising. He looked like he had some type of motor in him. He could really run the ball really well. But they also released longtime Viking tight end Kyle Rudolph. Good for him. But at the same time, it sucks because, good for him because getting out of that shitty organization, he probably deserves a little bit more or a little bit better of an atmosphere, a little bit better of a winning, probably a winning culture. That's what he deserves, is a winning culture. Now, releasing both Kyle Rudolph and Devontae Booker, the Giants have cleared about $7.3 million of cap space. So that obviously means if they're entertaining trade calls, they could bring in massive, massive pieces. Their defense needs a lot of work. They need defensive linemen. They need linebackers. They need corners. They need safeties. They need all these pieces defensively. So clearing this cap space, I think the Giants are going to try to go all in free agency, probably get some pretty good draft picks. Who knows if they'll decide to trade up or not. There's a lot of edge rushers in this draft, so don't expect too many teams to trade up because the quarterbacks, there's not many of them in this draft that are supposedly great quarterbacks. But there's definitely some good ones out there, but a lot of edge rushers in here, a lot of offensive linemen, a lot of defensive linemen. So it'll be interesting to see what the Giants kind of do. But right after the release of Kyle Rudolph, bunch of the fucking insiders, okay, bunch of the NFL insiders, every single one of them almost, okay, reported that Kyle Rudolph is retiring from football and won't come back. That's bullshit, okay? It's wrong. Completely and utterly wrong. Because I seen that while I was working my way at work, okay, just doing my thing, and told a couple of buddies about it. Come home, go on the Twitter to see if there's any more information popping off of what really kind of went down. They all deleted it. Okay, they deleted every single fucking tweet saying he's retiring, he's not coming back. Every single one of them deleted it. One person, only one, had the guts, had the cojones to say, hey, Kyle Rudolph ain't fucking retired, okay? He is still going to actively pursuing a another team. Try to find a different destination for him to play and for him to go in there and make an immediate, well, not really an immediate. A lot of this is bullshit, okay? But he basically came out. This is Adam Schefter. He came out, the only one that I seen that came out and said, no, hey, listen, all right? They didn't say we screwed up, but he's like, hey, not retiring. Okay, he's definitely going to be staying in the NFL, continuing his, luxurious career. So don't believe everything that's out there on the internet, okay? Because a lot of that was fugazi and bullshit from what I seen on the Twitter. Oh yeah, he's retiring. I was like, oh damn, okay, well that's shocking. Kind of, not really, but longtime Viking. I grew to like him, except for his last few years. I said I wanted him out of town because I thought Irv Smith Jr. was going to be just fine. Kyle Rudolph didn't have enough production for us. Wasn't scoring touchdowns like he used to. Wasn't getting the necessary yards that he was supposed to get. So it was kind of all, beating around the bush. And I was like, get him out of here. But I do know he's a very, very well liked Viking or player in our history. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. We'll induct him to the Ring of Honor eventually, probably, more than likely. Who knows? And then turned out to be false, fake news, as Donald Trump would say. It's fake news, all right? Figure it out. But the Giants released him, and I think this is kind of a part of their bigger picture. Trying to release or give them more wiggle room for free agency to sign these big name, targets out there. Obviously, there's quite a few of them. Offensive line, defensive line, Jadeveon Clowney's obviously... he's an edge rusher. He's a free agent. Sounds like he might end up back with the Cleveland Browns. Who knows? Von Miller's also a free agent. Could figure a way out to sign him. There's a lot of different pieces that could be plugged into, the puzzle over there for the Giants organization. We all know they have been quite bad the last, I don't know however many years since Eli Manning basically left. That's kind of how bad they've been for that long. But they're trying to overturn that. They're trying to fix that. They're trying to go, from ground zero to the mountaintop, like we kind of talked about yesterday, and I'm all for it. Got to do what you got to do. And if you think one person doesn't belong in the organization and somebody else on a different team does belong in your organization or said free agency or draft, you got to do that. You got to plug them in there. You got to figure out what works best for your team, for your organization, for your fan base, and what will give you the most success going forward. So with scouting combine week going on, there's gonna be a lot of stories of a lot of weirdness kind of going on, kind of happening, right? Last year we had the whole rock paper scissors thing going on with what was it? With the Eagles and coaches, or the head coach and the players kind of doing all that rock paper scissors shoot. All right, well, why'd you choose fucking paper? I want to know why you chose paper. Let's talk about it. Why'd you choose it? Oh, you choose scissors. Why'd you do that? So there's a lot of that going on. Obviously, last year we also had that, can't really remember off the top of my head. But when he made that fucking big old smoothie, had a bunch of bananas in there, peanut butter, Gatorade, some scrambled fucking eggs. I can't remember what the other part was. Might have been oatmeal. Don't really remember. And then they blended up, and they chugged that thing, and that's what helped them gain 60 pounds. So the scouting combine is really, the first 2 days is kind of getting to know a person, getting to know what makes this particular person tick. What makes him go? Is he competitive? Is he a leader? Who is he as a person? What's his personality like? What are his characteristics? Is this somebody we want to bring to our organization? Is this somebody that will make our team, our organization better and for the long run? That's basically what the scouting combine, at least the first 2 days, definitely throughout the week, is kind of all about. And there's some more of that going on. The Eagles, last year, they were a part of the rock, paper, scissors, shoot type of thing, trying to figure out why did you choose that? Diving into that, taking away the football aspect of everything and just trying to make these people, not robots, or going from robots to a human being. Give legit answers. Be themselves. And the Eagles have reportedly been having their prospects fucking go out there and shoot some hoops on a mini hoop and just... And I'm all for it, right? Because I think basketball And this goes for all sports, obviously. I mean, you could have had them, go on the putting green and putt away, just like a little 10-foot little strip of the turf and the hole at the end with and they just putt the ball. You could have them do that a couple times. But basically what this does is it shows them, oh, is this guy competitive? Does this guy care? What is he like? How is he when you get him outside of football and, really just get to see who this guy is as a human being? Because basketball, obviously, when you're fucking out there shooting hoops, if you miss one, you're like, shoot, all right, let's get another one. Miss the second one, you're like, oh, God, give me the ball. Miss the third one, now you're pissed. Now you're like, all right. And I'm sure if it was me in that situation, if I missed all 5, I'd be like, listen, we ain't stopping here. All right, I'm making one before we continue this interview. All right, I have to make one. That's just my personality. That's who I am as a person. You can't leave the gym, all right, without making at least one basket. It's how it is. So that's what these head coaches are trying to do. Getting, little bits and pieces of who you actually are as a human being. Just being yourself. Seeing if you'll, make the organization better. See if you're good for the locker rooms, good for the culture that they're trying to build over there. And listen, there's going to be a lot more news about this, okay? Oh, I don't know a lot more, but there's going to be some decent amount of news coming out. You're going to hear all different sorts of stories of, people doing certain things. Today I learned that, obviously the old style of doing things was a lot different than the new style. The old style was like the Wild Wild West, like Daniel Jeremiah said via the Pat McAfee show. So Daniel Jeremiah, obviously at Move the Sticks on Twitter. I think he's that same thing on Instagram. But he kind of relayed the message that, it's a whole different ballgame now. You can't ask certain questions. You can't do certain things. But back in the day, you could do whatever you want. And he told a story about Jared Allen. He said one time Jared Allen went in there and was sitting down at the meeting, and the defensive line coach basically just said, "You're a pussy. Like you're soft." And Jared Allen apparently tried to fight him. Okay, tried to go over the table, go at him like fist fight. So there's going to be a whole bunch of different things that coaches are going to try to do to see who you really are. And that's what the scouting combine is basically all about. Obviously, you have the 40-yard dash, okay? You have the bench press, you have the shuttle run, you have, the different route running skills you can do. You have all these types of drills that they're going to be running through. And that's basically for the viewers to watch and see who they like. That's obviously for the teams, their scouting teams, to really see, or their scouting department to see who they want on their team. But this whole part of it, the media part of it, the interview part of it, is basically them just going, is he good enough for our team? Is he good for our culture? And let's hope that's the case. But Nash is just fucking, he's growling. He's just, you go lay down. Jeez Louise. He thinks someone's just going to come in here, rip my head off, and then just leave. That's just not the case, okay? Chill your roll, okay? Jesus. But other than that, the Miami Dolphins, we obviously talked about Mike McDaniels at the beginning of the show, where he was just getting hyped up from John Lynch, talking pretty good thing, or talking about him in a positive manner. He said, hell yeah, let's go. That's fucking, you're my dude. But the Dolphins have apparently closed the door on a potential Watson or Deshaun Watson trade. Okay, cool. Watson, Tua. I have his jersey right here, Tua. Who do you want? Plain and simple, if it were me, if proven not guilty, give me Watson. Every single day of the week. He's proven what he can do. Yes, Tua is a young, up-and-coming talent. You're really unsure what his full potential might be. And the Dolphins GM, Chris Greer, who said this, basically was asked the question if Tua Tagovailoa can be a superstar. And he said, well, I really can't say he's not going to be. Okay? So yes or no? It's a yes or no question. Don't give me this, plain Jane answer. I feel like that answer that he gave right there tells you, nope, probably not. But we're going to roll with it another year, see how things go. Let his rookie contract kind of die out. Let him walk in free agency in the next couple of years. So we're closing the door on a potential Watson trade. I wouldn't close the door on that. And this might be complete bullshit. He's probably just throwing that out to the dogs of the social media who just like, oh, he said he's not doing the Watson trade. So that when it does happen, it's like, oh, where'd this come from? You said that you weren't going to do that, but you did it. I wouldn't close the door on it. Watson over Tua every single day of the week. Don't close the door on any possibility that makes your franchise that much better. I think Watson would make the Dolphins that much better. But who am I to judge? Okay? If they want to roll with Tua, I have nothing against Tua Tagovailoa. I think he's a good, up-and-coming quarterback. It takes a little bit of time for you to become great. Obviously, there's those few every once in a while that you just know right off the get-go, he's a dog, all right? Tom Brady, well, sort of. Peyton Manning, okay? Obviously, a dog. John Elway, Troy Aikman. There's literally tons of them that have done that. But there's others also that it takes a little bit of time to become great, to have that title. Really can't think of them off the top of my head, but they're out there. Devontae Adams is a great example. Third string on the depth chart when he came in, maybe fourth string, special teamer, couldn't do anything. Took him multiple seasons, I think 3 years, until he was able and capable of taking over that number one wide receiver role and dominating the wide receiver group for the last 5 years, or for the last 4 years for sure, maybe 3 years for 100%. Number one receiver in my eyes. He had to do that. Antonio Brown is another one. Special teamer. Too small. Not big enough. Can't really run routes that great. Guess what? Proved y'all wrong. He was phenomenal with Pittsburgh. He went to New England. In one game, he had 90-some receiving yards and a touchdown. Okay, then he has to, did his old thing. Comes to Tampa Bay, wins a fucking Super Bowl ring with Tom Brady, and is an explosive part of that offense. Yeah, he has that whole off or on the field issue, throwing his pads off and stuff like that, but he's done it. He's at the top of the game after being told he was nothing. It takes time for some of these people. So I get why they're not, giving up on Tua, and that's great. But don't close the door on a potential trade for Deshaun Watson, especially if he's proven not guilty. I think that's just common sense, right? I mean, obviously, if it's fucking the Baltimore Ravens, I'd slam the door shut on that potential trade. I would not do it. He's not on there no more. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs, we could potentially... No, not going to happen. If you're the Green Bay Packers, if Rodgers wants to go, leave that fucking door open. Could potentially happen if you're Las Vegas Raiders. Watson or Derek Carr? Who do you want? Take mine. Watson led the Houston fucking Texans to multiple playoff appearances. Didn't get many wins, but he did that. I don't know. You be the judge. I just don't think it's the right decision to close the door on a potential trade for Deshaun Watson. But obviously we have to wait until the verdict comes out. And I hope he's not guilty. But if he is, scumbag. All right, that's just my 2 cents there. But on other news, okay, we'll move away from the closing the door on the Deshaun Watson situation. Packers GM Brian Gutekunst has come out and he was asked the question, have you received any calls regarding Aaron Rodgers or trying to get Aaron Rodgers? No, not at all. Not one at all. Nope, haven't had it. Bullshit. Guarantee you have. And here's why. You're $26 million over the cap space. Aaron Rodgers has publicly stated he's not sure what he wants to do yet. Whether that's retire, whether that's ask for a trade. You have to sign Devontae Adams. A lot of your players are free agents at this point in time. You might be kind of bare on your defense. I mean, I'm sure there's other teams out there that really need a quarterback that are calling and asking, hey, so have you figured out the Aaron Rodgers situation yet? What's it looking like? We could really use somebody, but we're not going to ask for a trade at this moment. We'll just kind of worry about it later. No, we haven't had a decision yet, but we'll get back to you. It's probably what happened. I don't know. I'm not in that room. But I guarantee you they've had calls, or if they've had calls, he's probably just said, all right, end. I ain't taking that call. We'll wait. We'll wait till Aaron makes his decision. I just know that Aaron's a back-to-back MVP winner. Okay? He's been to, excluding this year, back-to-back NFC Championship games. Had he had back-to-back 13-3 seasons. This year was 13-4. The dude's playing at the top of his game, over 100 and I believe 10 QBR, which is ridiculous. Okay, that is amazing. The dude never throws interceptions, wins ball games, like I mentioned. I mean, he's the ultimate quarterback. He's the guy that you want. He's a franchise quarterback, and he's going to be paid the highest, or he's going to be the highest paid player in all of football, whether you like it or not. And I hate seeing all these people going on there, oh, he's selfish. He knew he was going to do this the whole time. No, he didn't. If you know Aaron Rodgers, if you watch Aaron Rodgers via the Pat McAfee show, in just a short amount of time that I've got to see him, I'm not a friend of him. Okay, I'm not his friend or anything. I don't see him on a daily. Obviously, I don't fucking talk to him on a daily basis, right? But he lives in the moment. He basks in the moment. He takes time to think about certain things. He's not sitting there 2 years ago going, you know what would be really fucking cool? So my contract is coming up here in a couple of years. What if, say, okay, Devontae Adams, he has to get paid that year. Zadarius Smith, he's probably going to be gone. Randall Cobb, I don't know if he's coming back, but if he does, imagine. And then you got Preston Smith is on the table. Imagine if I just kind of held out for a little bit, made everyone speculate, and do all their thinking and whatnot, making all these rumors, and I just went to Hawaii before training camp, and they all think I want to get a trade. And then after the season say, oh yeah, everything's fine and dandy. And then still not make my decision a couple weeks after. You think that'd be cool? No, he did not do that. People will do anything for a story. Anything for a story. Make up stupid shit for no reason. It's dumb. It's fake news. It just bothers me. Oh, he's selfish. Everybody should be. Okay? Put yourself before others. It's how it is. It's how it's going to be. Until you want to be, if you want to be happy, put yourself first instead of others. And I think that's what Aaron's doing. He's taking time. He's taking his own time. He wants money. He wants to make his money what he thinks he deserves. But he also did mention too that he understands, and he wants to be, he knows about that. He knows that Devontae Adams needs to get paid, and all these other guys needs to get paid, and he kind of wants to make sure that happens as well. So he wants to figure out the best possible solution for both the Green Bay Packers and himself. Putting himself first is selfish, because that's the way it should be. Jeez Louise. But I guarantee you Brian Gutekunst has gotten calls. Maybe not too in-depth of calls, maybe just seeing what the situation kind of looks like and going forward so that they can kind of game plan themselves, whoever the team is that may be called. But we'll find out, in due time, obviously, in a couple weeks. I'm assuming I think he said he's going to make the decision before March 8th, but it could be after that. We'll see. Who knows? Very interesting. This is a very big kind of piece of news that I came across today. The NFL is apparently talking about roughing the passer being reviewable. That's right, folks. And I'm all for it. I'm all for it because this year I've seen multiple instances where there was a roughing the passer and there was no fucking way it was roughing the passer. Okay, just plain and simple from watching the game, from seeing it happen, wasn't the case. For instance, I look back at, I believe it was the Bengals-Chiefs game. I know the Chiefs were involved. I don't know if it was the Bengals or some other team, but Patrick Mahomes kind of rolls outside the pocket a little bit. His back's turned. He's kind of looking upfield, and the guy was coming behind him. Ends up getting pushed into Patrick Mahomes, into his below his waist, taking him down. Roughing the passer, defense, number 95, would be a 10-yard penalty. Replay, first down. I don't know if that was roughing the passer, because I don't think he necessarily meant to do that, because he got pushed. Okay, so I'm all for it. I think there's a lot of calls that need to be fixed and need to be changed, and they might be doing this just solely because of the officiating and how that kind of all has spiraled downhill basically and fucking boom and blew up, and there's a bunch of smoke going out and shrapnel everywhere. It's kind of what the officiating was like this past season, and has been for at least the last couple seasons that I've been really, paying attention, for sure. I mean, I've definitely been paying attention my entire life, but more so the last 5 years or so. But hey, I hope they do this. I hope that roughing the passer becomes reviewable, because I'm done with the soft era. You can't, why does the quarterback even wear pads then, right? I mean, it is what it is, but I'm glad they're talking about potentially having roughing the passer be reviewable. So that obviously will come again in the next couple months. But that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me on the show, whether that be on Facebook or on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, do me a favor, hit the like, hit the share. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. It would be much, much appreciated. We will be back here tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central Time. Well, yeah, we might be on there. We're going to try to figure out how to watch the combine a little bit and kind of dive in. So we'll be back here at 6 p.m. Central Time. Like always, okay? Remember that, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Central Time, like always. So we'll see you then. Have a great rest of your night. Be safe out there. Enjoy this nice fucking weather before the freezing rain comes, because that'll suck. But hey, it is what it is. Thank you so much again, once again, for joining us. Have a great one, and you just got your fix with the Wicks. Deuces.